Thank you for having us.
I'm going to ask some boring questions to let these guys ask interesting questions, okay? So forgive me, like 101 stuff. How did you get involved in making the movie?
I made a film called Bob and the Monster that was distributed by MVD. And
Great movie.
Thank you. MVD and Casale approached us when the show was happening last summer, and I jumped at the chance.
Did you like Bob and the Monster? Or did you think it was the dumbest thing you've ever seen? Why did you approach Keirda? No!
Have you seen it yet?
Jerry, have you seen? Oh, sorry. Have you seen Bob and the Monster? Like,
Bob and the Monster.
Did that draw you to?
You know, I've quit Bob and the Monster. Yes, I think it's very good.
Is that what drew you to working with Keirda?
Well, I actually went on faith even before I saw that, just by talking with her.
Was there a reason that you wanted to shoot the Oakland show as opposed to other shows on the tour?
It was our only opportunity.
Oh. Well, it was your best opportunity, too.
Yeah.
Do you guys have questions?
Yes, Rob Ginsburg here, and I have a question for the director. For this show, at the meet and greet, I know there's a film crew there, and there was a child being interviewed at that. And I was just wondering, whatever happened with all that footage that was at the meet and greet?
You know, eventually that footage will end up either on a limited, an anniversary release or something like that, but that footage just didn't find its way. I remember that child, and I remember all those interviews.
More questions?
Yeah, were there any of the old tracks that you guys wanted to pull out and do live, but when you couldn't really get it to work live or anything like that?
Well, there were several key tracks that are almost impossible to play live in a way that worked without having my brother Bob there.
Sure.
Because he was key to creating some of those early Devo bizarre guitar lines, like "I'm a Potato," and frankly, "Satisfaction," which Bob Mothersbaugh can't really play. It's not his style. And there were a few others too.
Was it like fun to learn the songs again, or was it like looking at old pictures of yourself where you don't remember like the situations?
It was really hard because as time passes, you don't think the way you did then, and your hands don't move the way they did then, and to relearn those parts and realize what kind of changes you were making, you question why you ever did that.
Yeah, you're like unlearning your instruments.
Yeah, and it was kind of impressive. Like, my God, that is so bizarre, that change, and that chord after that one. Who would do that?
Just you,
like
just you guys, just Devo.
Us, we would do that. And yeah, it's too bad we quit doing that in a way.
Go
I
ahead.
have a comment. The three of us were at the show at the Fox, and performance was just outstanding. I wanted to say Bob's guitar work that night was fucking awesome. I've never heard him play that great, and it just shows up on the video. So that's a comment I wanted to say. And then we have a Devo dog, Roxie, who's here at the Roxie. She was also at the concert.
She was at the show.
Hold her up so everybody can see her. She's beautiful.
Stand up.
Absolutely. And I wanted to say right here in the second row is Mr. Vale himself, V. Vale, who was in the movie. So if you have any questions for him, he's willing to answer them.
And were there other people involved in the movie here?
Peter Conheim is somebody who's a cameraman right over
He
there.
shot.
Is there anyone else here from the crew that I don't know? Josh Hager's here. He wasn't part of the film. But also, his brother Paul Hager.
Paul
is here, who did an amazing job, concert audio mix. Let's give him a big round of applause.
That was also awesome that you thanked the Yahtzee. I saw you thanked the local union crew in the credit. That's awesome.
Yeah, great guys.
More questions? I'm going to go with over there.
The movie mentioned how initially the crowd's receptions were not exactly warm, and you mentioned how becoming a rock star was to some extent fulfilling your genetic imperative. At what point did you start to feel that Devo might be turning into something big?
Well, I really worked hard to try to make it big. I thought it was, what we were trying to do was deserved its place, its moment to be run up the flagpole. And when I thought it was going to be big is when, or maybe could be big, is when an English critic for Melody Maker made fun of us and said that we were a thinking man's kiss. It was supposed to be a big put down. It was 1978. And I reacted, idiotically at first on an animal level. Then I went, wait a minute, that's a great idea. What if we were thinking man's kiss?
Yeah, that's amazing. I love the thinking man.
Well, because we could be as popular and as commercial as them, but with a completely inverted message. So it didn't work out, unfortunately.
It's not too late to make that T-shirt.
Right, thinking man's kids.
Go ahead, back there, standing up.
Did you get to work closely with Bruce Conner?
Yeah. I liked Bruce. A lot of people didn't like Bruce because he really didn't suffer the fools gladly, which I appreciated. And he was very, he's an artist. He's very opinionated. He doesn't compromise or become wishy-washy. But yeah, it was fun working with Bruce. He taught me a lot about collage filmmaking, which then I used when I directed Beautiful World.
Did you ever hear that he was once quoted as, well, somebody accused him of being the father of MTV, and he said, if I had known, I would have worn a condom?
That sounds like Bruce.
Is there a question over here? Go ahead.
Yeah, it seemed like you guys were going full throttle on that concert, and I know you guys are probably a little rusty going full throttle. Did the cameras make a big difference as to how much you pushed it, or did you just feel the groove? And how sore were you the next day?
Yeah, we can't play quite as fast as we used to and stay tight. I mean, when you watch Saturday Night Live, 1978, October, and we're playing Satisfaction, it looks as if it's a video trick, and like somebody sped it up. And I watched that and go, how did we do that? That was insane.
The drummer is phenomenal.
I think it's because nobody really did any drugs or drink at that point. It was just pure energy and practice. But the cameras never, after so many years of cameras being around in so many circumstances, it's like they're not there. I think if we went back and I thought about the night we went on Saturday Night Live, it was the opposite. I really thought, literally, I'd shit my pants. Because it was totally frightening. And you're live and you know it. And in the dark while you're waiting for the commercial to end and they're turning this next set over, you're completely in the dark, you're holding your instrument, and Lorne Michaels comes over with his assistant, and the assistant turns a flashlight on under his face, just like that. And there's Lorne Michaels' face, like out of a horror movie. And he goes, all right, Devo. There's about 15 million people about to see this. So don't blow it. When you hear Don Pardo's voice, play. And you're just, it's like somebody gave you a vial full of Coke straight up the nose.
Back there, standing up?
Oh, no.
No, other standing up.
Oh, yeah, hello, and thank you. Is there any backline to Gates of Steel, one of my favorite songs of all times?
What was the question about Gates of Steel?
Yeah, is there any, specific thing about it?
What was the inspiration, I guess?
Yeah. Inspiration, anything.
Well, that was written in 1977, I still had a job at Portage Broom and Brush. I would do their catalogs. I was a graphic artist. I would do they were huge distributor of janitorial supplies. That's how I found the yellow suits, out of one of their catalogs, one of their suppliers. And I was very unhappy, you know, it was a horrible life. And I wrote the lyrics to that while I was supposed to be working. And it was really just about trying to, you know, it was about the human spirit refusing to be crushed, you know, to go undaunted, refusing to give in. And then later, Mark was jamming with two girls from a band called Chai Pig, Sue Schmidt and Susan, God, I forget her last name. They never really got out of Akron. They had an EP that they put out. And he started to create that progression. And we had a cassette tape of that. And I suggested some changes and suddenly realized the lyrics were meant for that music.
Time for 2 more questions.
Twist away.
I'm gonna go you.
Yeah, a great movie, really both energetic and smooth, and it just flows beautifully. Jerry, were you guys just venting about the world, or did you actually aim to change the world, and do you think you did?
That's really a question for Vail, because he kind of started addressing that in the interviews that Keirda did with him. Certainly, we like to think we were changing things, because we were railing against stupidity, and we were railing against, you know, fundamentalist belief systems and just brute power. Like, there was never any indication of a meritocracy. You know, good ideas didn't win, kind of just like now. You know, we had a voice in the marketplace, and we were talking about that stuff, and we seemed like we had a niche, like an alternative message that some people were starting to listen to and some people were getting. And then you could feel the clamp down. Like it's easy when nobody even understands you and they just think, this band is really weird. But then they start to think they get it. Now they have something to say about it. Now the label wants you to steer away from this or that, or doesn't like that song. And pretty soon it got reduced to, I think, shtick. You know, you get marketed, but then the marketing does you in. You know, you're co-opted. I mean, you could try hard not to be co-opted, and you'll be co-opted.
That's such a beautiful point to end on, but I did promise one more question. So, very back.
Yes, my question is for Jerry, and I guess by the time you guys had signed to Warner Brothers, you had an extensive back catalog of great music, and some of which became the first 2 albums, and many of which got lost in time until the initial demo and this tour.
Right.
So what I was wondering is, why? You know, like, if you guys had got more studio time, would you have put those songs to tape with Warner Brothers budget, or was there no intention of you guys revisiting your old songs by the time you were doing with it, or whatever?
That's a really good question, and I can't place any blame on others. I think it was intra-band. I think you get so caught up in your own exponential creativity. Like, you're only concerned with what you're currently interested in and the newest song you're writing. And we've lived with those songs so long in basements and garages when everybody laughed at us that knew about us. And then we were unleashed upon the world with other songs. And I think, you know, it isn't like I tried to corral Mark and say, let's go back and do these pure songs we did when we weren't trying at all to connect with people. It wasn't like that. We just got caught up in the moment of just energy and creating and only wanted to move forward. and things get lost. You know, whatever you gain, you lose that much. That cliche is true.
Thank you so much for coming up to San Francisco, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Keirda. Thank you, Keirda. And Vale. Thank you, Vale.
The film is going to be released February 24th. The DVD and the Blu-ray comes out. You can see it. And if there is a ballot, please vote.
There are, if you let me run up to the front, there'll be ballots on the snack bar. So take those ballots,
Go to the
give
snack bar.
it a 5.